The original Doom series, consisting of Doom, Doom 2, The Ultimate Doom, and Final Doom, is absolutely amazing. These were the games that popularized the first-person shooter genre. Doom first appeared on MS-DOS PCs in 1993, 30 years ago, and the series is still going strong today. These games are some of the best ever made, and even today has a gigantic community behind it creating new levels and other mods. Numerous source ports of the game exist, allowing people to not only play games on modern PCs, but add new features that could only be dreamed of back when it was created. These games have been reviewed to death at this point, so instead of a straight review, I'm going to do something a little different. In this video, I'm going to tell the story of my experiences with this series. Playing these games gave me a huge appreciation for gaming in general, introduced me to the concept of online multiplayer, and even played a large part in influencing my career choice as a software engineer. So sit back and enjoy Doom as I experienced it in the 1990s. My first home computer came to me in mid-1995. It was a hand-me-down from my father's business. He had upgraded to a newer machine, so this one got set up in our home. It was an Acer 486DX clocked in at 33 MHz. On its gigantic 40 MB hard drive was MS-DOS version 6.2 and Windows 3.1. By this time, I was already aware of the game Doom. All of the gaming magazines were harping praise for this game, except not the PC version. They were mostly talking about how amazing the Atari Jaguar port was, and hyping this as the game of the century. Everyone was talking about this game at school like it was the most amazing thing, but no one actually owned or played the game. That's some amazing marketing. Well, someone did have Doom, or more appropriately Doom 2 on their PC. One of my friends owned a copy for a while and was heaping nothing but praise about the game. Given the marketing push for the console ports and word of mouth, I bowed to peer pressure and had to get this game. So, with a shiny new computer and some saved up cash in hand, my mom took me to Best Buy to buy a game. It's kind of funny to think that back then, Best Buy actually sold things other than garbage cell phone accessories. They had giant rows of compact discs, VHS tapes, computers and parts, TVs, and of course a massive assortment of video and computer games. If you're looking for a specific game, movie, or album, there was a 90% chance that Best Buy had it in stock. It took me very little time to track down the PC games, and there it was, right on the top rack of the shelf. Doom 2, Hell on Earth. In case you're unaware, Doom 2 is the first commercial release of the Doom series by id Software. The original Doom game was only available as a shareware release. Shareware was a way to distribute games and other software at a very low cost. You'd pay only a few dollars and you got a sample portion of the game. Part of the reason for the name shareware is that the license agreement allowed you to give copies to other people as well. The idea was to get the software in front of as many people as possible. It was that era's version of a downloadable demo. With the original Doom, you got Episode 1, Knee Deep in the Dead, in the shareware release. To get the complete version, you had to then mail order the game directly from id Software. There wouldn't be a commercial release of Doom until the Ultimate Doom was released, roughly 2 years after the initial release of Doom. So, I bought Doom 2 and took it home, imagining how awesome this game would be on the drive back. We got home, and I installed the game to the hard drive and proceeded to start playing. This is where things went horribly wrong. The game wouldn't start. After some troubleshooting, and you have to remember, this was my first PC and I was just barely starting high school at the time, we discovered that the computer didn't have enough RAM to run the game. The minimum specs required 4 megabytes of RAM, and this machine only had 2 megabytes. This was a huge disappointment for me, and luckily, the next weekend, we went to CompUSA and picked up 2 additional megabytes of RAM to install for the low cost of about $120. Finally, I got the game running and was met with that iconic splash screen. After a few seconds, the demo started to play. Already, this game looked amazing. Up to this point, the best graphics I'd experienced at home was the 2D sprites of the Super Nintendo. And this was a real 3D game that played smoothly. At least for the time. Also, it had tons of blood and gore, something sorely missing on the SNES. And at age 15, something absolutely needed for me in games. Fortunately for the series, these games weren't just eye candy for fans of a gratuitous viscera and gore. They played great. I of course started on the easiest difficulty, and as I needed to get used to the controls and learn the ins and outs of the game. The level design was incredible, and I felt like I was actually in these environments while playing. None of these areas look like any real architecture on Earth. Even the city levels don't really look like a city. Instead, the game is a surreal abstraction of what a city, sewer, or factory actually is. These levels were the most interesting and played to the overall aesthetic of the walls, floor, and ceiling textures. It took me several months to beat this game the first time through, and I by no means was able to get 100% of all the kills or secrets in every stage. Heck, I managed to find the 2 secret stages that take place in a Wolfenstein-like dungeon simply by accident. I love how the game introduced new enemies and weapons. Early levels like the entryway, underhalls, and the gauntlet were great introductions. They challenged me as a beginner, but helped ease you into the rest of the game. Upon reaching the Crusher stage and coming face to face with the Spider Mastermind, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Actually, the first time through, I was playing on the easiest difficulty, so it wasn't the Spider Demon, but a Hell Knight. Still, flattening him was just as satisfying. When I finally played the game on harder difficulties, the Spider Mastermind replaces the Knight. This Spider Demon was an absolute beast of a monster, and it was the first time I really saw how crazy and spectacular this game was going to be. I'm pretty sure I died to the Spider Demon the first few times, but soon learned to activate the Crusher and hide from its chain gun, simply listening for its final gasp as it perishes. The first really challenging stage for me was Map 7, Dead Simple. You'd think that with a name like that, it'd be simple and easy, right? Well, the map design is pretty simple. You start in a room with several Mancubus, a newly introduced enemy. This is the part where you'll need to bullet hell style dodge all of their fireballs. It doesn't help that there is a partial invisibility sphere in all the corners of the room, making the Mancubus fire in random directions if you pick it up. Once you kill all the Mancubus, the walls of the room lower, and you have to fight a horde of Arachnotrons. Defeating the Arachnotrons raises the stairs to the exit in the center of the room. Too bad at the time I didn't know about SR40 and SR50 strafe running, as you can easily strafe run to the exit switch and bypass most of the level. The next amazing level for me came right after Dead Simple. This is my absolute favorite level in the game, called Tricks and Traps, and it doesn't disappoint. Even people who haven't played the game in decades will remember the room with the Cyber Demon that gets bullied and eviscerated by the hordes of Barons. First time through, I must have fallen for every single trick the level threw at me, including the inescapable pit on the way to the exit room. I still love playing through this level, even today. The next level that I found memorable was the Circle of Death, which was called the O of Destruction on the automap, a reference to the Hoe of Destruction from Ultima 7. This level was an early multipath level and introduced the true nightmare enemy of the game, the Archvile. That sound when it wakes up terrified me when I first heard it, and it's one of the most fear-inducing sounds I have ever heard. It doesn't help that the Archvile is one of the best programmed enemies in any game. Its AI behavior makes him the perfect hunter, and his ability to target you by sight alone led to so many deaths. Maps 12 through 20 were the city levels, and I really didn't like these when I first played them. They featured many wide-open areas filled with strong enemies with high damage output like Revenants and Arachnotrons. I did love the secret levels, accessed from level 15. These levels were throwbacks to Wolfenstein 3D and Spear of Destiny, games that I had played by the time I got to this level. The part I found the best was in Map 31, where you access a secret area. In this, you see the Wolfenstein level merge with a Doom level, and I realized just how revolutionary this game was. Everything about the Doom area puts Wolfenstein to shame. Walls that weren't all flat and grid-based, stairs and platforms at different elevations, animated wall textures, it was all there. And of course, the best weapon in the game, the BFG 9000. Despite the initial dislike of the city levels, Map 16, the suburbs, was one of my favorites. This is an early example of a slaughter map, with tons of monsters that teleport in after grabbing the blue key, with an Archvile in the back resurrecting dead enemies, and occasionally targeting you with his hellfire. I love watching the monsters infight in this game, and then just holding down the fire button on the BFG as it destroys piles of enemies. The final stretch of the game was the hell levels, and these were incredibly tough, even for me on the lowest difficulty. There's a secret in Monster Condo that's open for 30 seconds when the map starts and then becomes inaccessible after that. This took me years to figure out and get 100% of the secrets in this level. Coming to face with the Icon of Sin was quite the experience. On one level, it was really cool design, and the mechanic for destroying it, firing 3 well-timed rockets into its exposed brain from a rising platform, was incredibly innovative, but I was kind of hoping that I would fight a boss monster in the more conventional way, like the Cyber Demon or Spider Demon fight from Doom 1. I remember when I finally beat the Icon of Sin, and there was this incredible explosion before getting the ending, which was very underwhelming. At the time, I didn't know that this game was kind of rushed for release, which is why it's just a text scroll, then a vignette of all the monsters in the game. Included with Doom 2 was also the shareware version of Doom, and I also played this one a lot. It's only the first 9 levels, but these are absolutely amazing maps. All the efforts to make the first episode amazing were successful, but I feel like episodes 2 and 3 were very underwhelming in comparison. I wouldn't get a chance to play them until 1996, when I got a hold of a copy of the Ultimate Doom. Doom 2 is also my first experience with modern-style multiplayer. You could play a level co-op, but why do that when you can engage in a deathmatch with your friends? I would often play against a friend over our dial-up modems, but on a few occasions, we would all bring our PCs and monitors to someone's house and serial link them together for an all-out 4-player battle royale. I can't end this video with talking about cheats. There's a ton of cheat codes that you can enter while playing the game. My favorites were to use IDDQD to become invincible, and then ID clip to enter no clipping mode, allowing you to walk through walls and such. This was so much fun, just seeing what you could find in a level. Outside of the bounds of the map were monster closets for enemies to teleport in, and most famously, going inside the head of the Icon of Sin to see the severed head of series creator John Romero. There's no praise that I can give that truly does justice to these games. Outside of the poorly chosen master levels, all of the id-released Doom engine games were amazing. The Challenge of Thy Flesh Consumed, Episode 4, as well as Plutonia and TNT from the final Doom release added an extra challenge and numerous hours spent back in the world of Doom. Me and my friends even got a map editing program, and we started making our own maps. They were mostly trash and can't compare to the amazing mods you see today from some of these amazing modders like Skillsaw, Insane Gazebo, Syriac, and too many others to name. I still play these games today, though on source ports and mostly new community-designed levels. The experience today is much different as my skills have improved, and the ability to map the movement to the WASD keys make maneuvering in the game much more smooth and intuitive. Back then, it was an eye-opening experience on the kinds of games that were possible. On top of that, the entire game was developed by a small team. The fact that 4 people programmed the entire game helped inspire me to learn how to program myself. I hope you enjoyed listening to my experiences playing the Doom series for the first time back in 1995, and for anyone that wants to share, I'd love to hear your experiences with Doom in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.